What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Matteo. I'm super glad you guys are here. Let's roll the intro, and we'll get underway with our Week 16 show. It's our NFL Weekly show here on Inside the Zone with Matteo. Let's go. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Matteo. It is our NFL Weekly show. It's Week 16 of the NFL. Starting off tonight with the Seahawks and the Rams in a highly anticipated matchup between two of the top teams in the NFC and both in the NFC West. We got Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nakua, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Both defenses looking pretty darn good. It's going to be a fun one today. And it's going to be a fun show today. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of 2025. And bringing you content every single day until January 1st here in these last couple of weeks of December. Trying to get those extra subs. So, we've been doing some NHL episodes, NBA episodes. Our weekly NFL show is here. So, yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's start the show off like normal. We go to Mateo's show batting order, which we use every single episode on Inside the Zone with Matteo. So if you would like to sponsor this segment, this slide, just let me know. You can send me an email. My email is in the description of the YouTube channel. There's some Google Forms with some contact forms. You can just pick one of those randomly. There's not one exactly for sponsoring, but you could for sure use one of them. You can send me a DM on Twitter. I'll try to look at those once in a while. And if you would like to sponsor this, just let me know using one of those things. But yeah, it's basically just our order, what the show is about, what we're gonna talk about, and it's the same order for every single NFL episode. What I learned from last week of the NFL. We're going to hold myself accountable from the picks I made last week. I'll make my Week 16 picks and then my power rankings for Week 16. That is how we end the episode. Let's just jump into what the heck I learned from Week 15 of the NFL. This is going to be fun. If you are my YouTube audience, you saw the slide. It says, oh boy, this is going to be fun. If you're my Spotify audience, which, yeah, you can listen to us on Spotify. I just search Inside the Zone with Matteo. It's the same logo. It's the red logo that's in the corner of my screen right here. It's my profile picture. And you can listen to the audio episodes of this show. So without further ado, what the heck I learned from Week 15 of the NFL. And, we've been doing this for the last couple of weeks where, for the first half of the season, I have a total of 5 things. And then for the second half of the season, one of the 5 things is always this. These teams are making the playoffs, and it's basically a playoff picture update of who I think will make the playoffs, who are my locks, who do I eliminate, who has the NFL mathematically eliminated. All of that is in this little segment here on starting off 5 things I learned from Week 15 of the NFL. So here is my slide from last week, what I had. So at my almost 100% locked in teams were the Patriots, Broncos, Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks. Those teams were the 5 teams that I said, I feel like those teams are going to make the playoffs almost 100%. I would give my almost 100% confidence in that. Those are their records from last week. You had still in the hunt is anybody besides the teams that I eliminated. The teams that I eliminate will be not in bolded, but just will be typed out with their team abbreviation, like for the Vikings, MIN. And once the NFL mathematically eliminates them, they get this strike through on them. So that was last week. Note, there are a lot more eliminations that have happened this week. So I'll explain a little bit more once we get to that slide. And then the spots open is the last column on the slide, and is what spots that I have no idea whoever's gonna win that spot. Okay, so last week it was one wild card in the NFC because I had the three NFC West teams. So that means two of them will be wild cards and one of them will win the division. All three wild card spots were open last week in the AFC because I only had the Patriots and Broncos as the AFC teams that were 100% going to make the playoffs. And then all the division winners were still up for grabs. And let me tell you, most of the division winners are still up for grabs. So let's go over to now after Week 15 of the NFL. This is the slide. You can see a lot more has been added. So the Patriots sitting at 11-3 are, despite losing, are still almost 100% into the playoffs for me. The Broncos actually are emboldened because they clinched a playoff spot at 12-2. They clinched a playoff spot, so they are almost 100% in. They're actually 100% in because they clinched. So are the Rams. They're emboldened, so they're at 11-3. They clinched a playoff spot. The Niners are 10-4. They have not clinched a playoff spot, but I still believe in them that they will make the playoffs. Same thing with the Seahawks, who are 11-3. But then I add the 10-4 Bears, the 9-5 Eagles, and the 10-4 Buffalo Bills. The teams that got eliminated this week, the Vikings got eliminated. Those were so now all the teams from last week have now officially been eliminated. And then I didn't even get a chance to add these teams that I thought were going to be eliminated because the NFL just eliminated 3 more teams. That's why they're in bolded and in strike through, because the bolded means they're new. Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Miami Dolphins all got eliminated this week, so we have to cross them off. They are no longer in playoff contention this season. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those teams coming up later in the show. And then spots open. There have been a couple spots where I have been pretty confident who's going to win that. Basically, the AFC West. I have the Broncos at 12-2. The Chargers would basically have to win out, and I just don't see that happening. So the Broncos, in my opinion, are going to clinch that division, so I don't have that spot open. And then I have the NFC North and the NFC East. So I think the Eagles, they just need one win and they clinch the division. Dallas is 6-7-1, I'm pretty sure. And I just think the Eagles, are going to win at least one more game the rest of the season. So they could even win the division, at 10-7. I doubt that's going to happen. They'll probably win. I think they might even win out on the remaining games, but I think they're going to win their division. Same thing with the Bears. And we will talk a little bit more about why I believe this. But the Micah Parsons injury has a lot to do with this. But then also that the Lions just cannot beat good teams. They lost a heartbreaking game to the LA Rams in another Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford rematch. So I just think the Chicago Bears are going to win that division at 10-4 right now. They'll probably win a couple more games. And so, yeah, that is kind of why I have the Bears winning the NFC North. But obviously things could change. The list is fluent. But that right now, that's the Bears. And then the Buffalo Bills. Those Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, I don't know. You got to have them in because, they're 10-4. They hypothetically could end up winning the division. The Patriots could end up going on the road in the playoffs. Yeah, well, that's what it is. Josh Allen, 2 straight games coming back in the fourth quarter. Man, oh man, was that insane. And he did against the Bengals, who have no defense. The Patriots have a pretty darn good team, and he did against them too. Yeah, he's just showing why he, spoiler, might win MVP. And so there is going to be my almost 100% locked in column or whatever you want to say. As I said, obviously, still in the hunt is anybody other than the teams that have been eliminated: the Titans, the Browns, the Jets, the Raiders, the Giants, the Saints, the Commanders, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Miami Dolphins. Spots left open. There's one wild card spot left open in the NFC, so hypothetically, the Packers or the Lions could maybe slip into one of those spots. But we just don't know who that's going to be. So that is still left wide open. 2 wildcard spots in the AFC because obviously the Bills or the Patriots, one of them will win the division. One of them will be a wildcard spot, in my opinion. But yeah, we still need to figure out who the heck's going to win the AFC North. with the Steelers and the Ravens. We got to figure out who's going to win the AFC South between the Colts and Phillip Rivers, and then you got CJ Stroud and the Texans and Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars all playing at a high level. Any of them could win that division because there's a lot of division games remaining in that division as well, which is absolutely crazy. The AFC East, yeah, as we have already mentioned, the Patriots and Bills. We don't know who's going to win that division. The NFC West is crazy. Y'all know how much I like this NFC West race. It's going to be insane down the road. And then the NFC South. Nobody wants to win that division. Nobody wants to win that division. The Buccaneers, the Panthers, they keep losing to the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, and no one wants to win that division, but one team's going to have to win on Sunday because they are playing each other. They play each other twice in the next 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks of the season, the Panthers and the Buccaneers play. Basically, whoever wins those games are going to win the division and make the playoffs. So I'm expecting some cool games, though. They might not be the prettiest games, but they might be some interesting and cool games here at Week 16 and Week 18 of the NFL. But yeah, that's kind of my little mini playoff picture update. But we will take a look at the standings as well. This is what I also do on the segment is I take a look at the full standings. So here we go. Here's the AFC playoff picture at the moment. As you can see, the Denver Broncos right now sitting atop of the conference at 12-2. You got the Patriots at second place. You got the Jaguars at third, and the Steelers at fourth. Those are your division winners, and then the wild cards are 5, 6, and 7. Man, I keep saying 6, 7. Gosh. Chargers still. I mean, I don't know how they keep winning, but yeah, they are 10-4, and then you got the Bills at 10-4. And then you get right now you got the Texans at 9-5, and then the other two teams just out of the playoffs that could make it still mathematically, obviously the Colts and obviously the Ravens. It's really I like this. This playoff picture is actually insane. As you can see, the Chiefs, Dolphins, Bengals, Jets, Browns, Raiders, Titans, they are all eliminated from playoff contention. But yeah, I legit don't know. I legit don't know who's gonna make it out of this wild card. Like, besides the Bills, I could totally see the Chargers losing the next couple games and blowing them up, or if anything, being like the 7th seed and then losing to the Patriots or Bills. Um, I like the Texans a lot. I do like the Texans a lot, and I mean, Phillip Rivers didn't look too half bad. I mean, they're going to play the Niners this week. Spoiler alert for picks. I don't think that's going to go well. So they're going to be 8-7, meaning like if the Jaguars and Texans happen to lose, I mean, maybe you have a chance, Colts, but it's just unfortunate for the Colts. Who are they playing this week? The Colts, well, yeah, are playing the Niners. Texans are playing the Raiders, and the Jaguars are playing the Broncos. We could see Texans jump to first place. Yeah, that could very well happen. So here, let's pull up those standings by division. Yeah, right here at the bottom of your screen, Jaguars, Texans, Colts. Right now, probably Colts lose, Texans win, Jaguars probably lose. So, you'll have the Texans and Jaguars tied at 10-5. Division record, Texans have a better division record right now, so the Texans would move into first place in that division. And I wonder if the Colts would be eliminated from playoff contention if that were to be the case. I don't think so because of the wild card race. I had clinching scenarios pulled up, and then I closed the window, so I'm reopening that. I don't know. When I do these, what websites do you guys use? What sites do you guys use here? Let me share this. I like Bleacher Report a lot. Here's the playoff picture right now if it were to start today. Rams get the bye, Broncos get the bye, and you have a Niners-Eagles first-round matchup, a Packers Bears first round matchup, and a Seattle Seahawks versus the whoever ends up as the 5 seed is basically has a bye. Like, do you really believe that the Panthers or the Buccaneers are going to get out of the first round? I don't. So, you're going to be lucky. It's probably going to be the Niners or the Seahawks. Yeah, it's that we got to change. We got to change the playoff seeding. And then over in the AFC, some pretty good games. I mean, the Steelers, Chargers, those any of those teams could win. I have no idea about that. And the winner has to probably play the Denver Broncos. Wow. Denver Broncos right now would have a pretty easy way over to the AFC Championship. Then you got the 6-3 matchup in the AFC right now would be the Bills and the Jaguars. And you got, the Texans and the Patriots. Very interesting. So let's take a look at some playoff clinching. Actually, hold on. Let's actually go back over here while we were talking about the playoff picture. Let's go over back to the standings and talk about the NFC playoff picture. Just give you a quick update on this, just because, that's what I did for the AFC. So let's do it for the NFC, and then we'll go to playoff playoff clinching scenarios and elimination scenarios. I think it has both. Does it have both? Yes, it does have both. Yes, let's go. The Rams have clinched a playoff spot. They're the only team to clinch a playoff spot right now in the 10 teams in the mix for the NFC Championship. They're sitting at 11-3 right now. You got the Bears at 10-4, the Eagles at 9-5, and the Buccaneers at 7-7 as division winners. Seattle Seahawks at 11-3, San Francisco 49ers at 10-4. Those are your first two wild card spots, and then you got the Green Bay Packers sitting at 9-4 as your last wild card spot. The Lions, Panthers, and Cowboys all sitting out of a playoff spot at the moment. And obviously, like, the AFC is weaker, but I mean, look at this NFC West. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. Ever since I had the thumbnail of Brock Purdy, Rams, Seahawks. One of those teams are going to win today. Rams already won. Okay, Rams already won one game against the Seahawks. Makes me to believe that they're going to win another one, even if Devontae Adams is out tonight. They will improve to 4-1 against the division, which is absolutely huge because that ties the 49ers, their record, meaning, like, for the tiebreakers, it matters. Your record against the division does matter if you're tied at the end of the season. It will matter, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see. It also helps their conference record because, I mean, San Francisco 8-2 against the conference. Against the Rams are 6-3 against the conference. You never know what might happen there, but the tiebreakers are something you have to pay attention to, especially with teams where they're so tight in the division. You could even make that argument for the NFC North with the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions all sitting 2 games within each other. Hypothetically, if Caleb Williams messes up, if somebody gets injured on the Bears team, Lions or Packers, despite injuries, could maybe end up winning that division because it's so darn tight. Obviously, we have no idea who's going to win the NFC South. The NFC East is pretty much easy because I believe once we get into these playoff clinching scenarios, the Eagles, all they have to do is just win one game, and they are in the playoffs. That is, I'm pretty darn sure. So right here. Exactly. Boom. Perfect segue. The Philadelphia Eagles clinch the NFC East if they win against the Washington Commanders, which probably should be a win, or if they tie and the Cowboys tie. But also, if the Cowboys just lose a game too, and the Eagles lose, the Eagles are still in the playoffs. Eagles have the easiest way here in the NFC to make the playoffs, and they do deserve, despite being very interesting. The Green Bay Packers clinch a playoff berth if they win and Detroit loses, or if they tie and the Lions lose. The Bears, kind of same thing here. They clinch a playoff spot if they beat the Green Bay Packers this week and the Detroit Lions lose, or if they tie with the Packers and the Lions lose. So in a way, Green Bay and the Packers and the Bears, if they tie and the Lions lose, both of those teams clinch playoff spots, which could be very interesting. So I doubt that's going to happen, but hey, we've seen crazier things happen. We've already seen one tie from Green Bay happen. Why not another one? Seattle Seahawks can clinch a playoff berth if they win tonight versus the LA Rams. But also, if the Detroit Lions lose or tie versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 49ers, if they win, they're in as well. Very straightforward, or, again, if the Lions lose. So I'm pretty sure if the Lions lose, everybody else clinches a spot, or at least most of them. So in a way, we could have the NFC playoff picture set except the NFC South. Um, if the Lions lose to the Steelers and the Niners, the Seahawks, and then whoever wins against the Packers and Bears, you could have the playoff picture set. And the Eagles win, you could have it set by next week, which could be absolutely crazy. The AFC, the Denver Broncos can clinch the AFC West with a win, and they need the Chargers to lose or tie against the Dallas Cowboys, which is, could happen or could not happen. And then the Broncos can clinch the number 1 seed if they win and the Chargers lose and the Patriots lose and the Bills lose. So that's most likely going to have to be pushed out another week. Patriots clinch a playoff spot with a win. The Bills clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Colts loss, which, probably could happen. The Jaguars clinch a playoff berth with a win against the Broncos and a loss from the Colts, or a win and a Texans loss, or a tie and a loss by the Colts. You could read those if you really want to. The Chargers couldn't clinch a playoff spot if they win against the Dallas Cowboys and the Indianapolis Colts lose against the Niners, or if they win and the Texans lose. So there's how the Chargers can clinch a playoff spot. And that is it for clinching scenarios. And finally, elimination scenarios. This is where I think, obviously if the Eagles win, the Cowboys are done. I'm pretty sure. Cowboys, if they lose, they're done. They have to win out, okay? They have to win out, and that is the only elimination scenario for this week. Very interesting, the Cowboys. If they lose, they are done, which is very interesting. And so that is the first thing I learned this week, that, some of those teams are in, some of those teams may not be in right away. But yeah, that's the first thing I learned this week. The second thing I learned this week from the NFL is this. Boom! Well, I learned exactly what an ACL injury is, okay? Because we just witnessed the craziest NFL season injury-wise, and not just a bunch of injuries, one specific injury. The ACL injury happened like so many darn times. We've seen it from star players. 30 torn ACLs this season. It's actually 8 less than last season. And then they had 43 total in 2023, 51 in 2022, 57 in 21, 42 in 2020. So it's been way more. Technically, we have had way less in ACL injuries, but it has been something, to think about, because it has been all notable players getting hurt. Let me show you what I mean here. This was a post I found on X, and this is right here. Micah Parsons, torn ACL. Patrick Mahomes, torn ACL. Both happened this week. Nick Bosa, torn ACL. Malik Neighbors, torn ACL. Tyreek Hill, torn ACL. Tucker Kraft, torn ACL. Zach Ertz, torn ACL. Marshawn Lattimore, torn ACL. Najee Harris, torn ACL. Daniel Jones, torn ACL. There were more. Those are just the people that jump to your mind when you think of injuries, or like the injuries that have happened. Those are just some relevant people to bring up. But I said what I learned, what ACL injury is exactly. Well, why did I? Because it's happened so much. I decided we're gonna go on a little bit of a medical type of journey here. We're going to learn from somebody what is an ACL injury. I spent a little bit of time researching this to figure out what the heck it is, but I found a short video to explain it to y'all, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't explain it all. I'm not a doctor. But I did spend some time, to figure out what an ACL injury was on my own. I read a couple articles and I watched a couple videos. But this really breaks it down perfectly, okay? So I just want to make sure it doesn't start playing. Hold on. This video was made after Malik Neighbors tore his ACL back a couple months ago. But the same thing, it applies for everything, okay? So I'm just zooming in here so y'all can see the video. I think it's a good video. I really like the video. Um, so hold on. There we go. All right. I do not have Instagram. I just was able to view this because you can search up shorts on ACL basically, and they'll bring you to links, and you can just do it without you just can't like or comment or whatever, or share. But okay, let's let this guy cook a little bit. You can you've already read, if you're my if you're my video audience, you've on YouTube, maybe you've read the thing already. But he's gonna explain exactly what this ACL injury is and why it's so bad. Okay, here we go.
Sunday, Malik Neighbors tore his ACL versus the Chargers. Let's break it down. The ACL is one of the major stabilizing ligaments in the knee. It holds the femur and the tibia together, and it prevents the tibia from translating forwards. It also provides stability with jumping, landing, and deceleration, and it controls knee rotation during pivoting, cutting, and change of directions. ACL injuries are common in sports like football that have a lot of cutting, pivoting, change of direction, and jumping. Malik Neighbors had a non-contact ACL injury, and some common mechanisms of injury for a non-contact ACL injury are just sudden changes of direction, jumping and landing awkwardly, and sudden deceleration. ACL rehab usually takes between 9 and 12 months to recover, and each part of the process is very important to returning to your sport safely. It starts with simple things like improving knee extension and quad strength and decreasing swelling, but then towards the end of your rehab, working on improving agility and then return to sport exercises and activities. If you tore your ACL, we can help you rehab and return to your sport. Schedule an appointment with us today.
That dude cooked for us. I watched multiple videos. I wish I would have found him way sooner. I watched multiple videos, and it just wasn't making sense. But he pictures it exactly perfectly. If you are my audio audience, hopefully he was able to picture that in your head with just, him talking. But you can check me out here on YouTube, Inside the Zone with Matteo, and you can watch the video as well if you want to. He just kind of had a diagram of the ACL ligament and kind of stuff like that, and like a diagram, a little bit of the leg and the knee, because that's where it kind of is. But I thought that was very important because, and like, I was also thinking, like, how do they keep doing this? Well, and also, so many of these, like Micah Parsons, Malik Neighbors, non-contact. They were non-contact. So I'm like, how does that happen? Well, he explained it very well. He said it can be from any sort of, sudden direction changes, awkward landings, or deceleration. Deceleration. Micah Parsons, his non-contact injury. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you it here. Let me share it, and I'll show you guys. I will show you what exactly happened, because after watching a couple videos, I can see exactly how this happened. Okay, it's unfortunate, but I can see exactly how it happened. Why are we not? There we go. Here it is. So here's his play. There's no audio, but he goes here, right? He loses and he just snaps. Okay. So I'm gonna slow it down if I can. Can I slow it? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm gonna slow it down to 25 speed. Okay. Just watch him run. Watch his leg. It's this leg, I'm pretty sure. Okay, he's running. And then look. He was Bonix. You can see my mouse. This is better if you're visually watching on YouTube. You can see him. He's right here. He's here. He throws the ball, so then Parsons has to quickly rotate, quickly change directions, and that's what does it, because he has to quickly change directions, so he also doesn't get a roughing the passer call, but so that he can go see where the ball is, because then his edge job, just like Nick Bosa, is he's supposed to rush the passer, but also he's got to go tackle the boys if they make the catch too. So by then changing directions, that is exactly with this left leg when it happens. They were also in the cold. It was like 40 or 30 degrees outside in Denver. The cold makes your muscles very sensitive, so that's just why you need to warm up tons, especially when you're playing in the cold. And that's just what happens. Then you can see, just kind of falls, grabbing his knee, and lays down on the ground. So that is how that happened. But then also, you got the Patrick Mahomes injury as well. So let's just go back to this while I can go get the. Just trying to get the Patrick Mahomes footage. This one I couldn't tell as much, but it's kind of gross. It is. It's kind of gross if you in a sense. It kind of is. Here his is. This is actually slowed down for us already. Um, I want to mute this because he does some weird things when he's showing this. I just want to, yeah, right here. This is where I want it. Okay, so watch his left leg. He's running. He's going out. He's throwing the ball away. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I need the other angle. I need the other angle, please. Please show me the other angle, brother. Right. Yeah. This is where we need it. So right, he's running. Okay, stop, bro. This dude. Oh my gosh, bro. Nope. The other view is way better. I guess that works. Okay, then no, right there, boom, boom. Look at his left leg. It is completely standing in like a standing position. The knee is not bent at all, and then he just falls on it. Look at that. Oh! If that doesn't show you, can we get it from the other angle? I don't remember if they do it from the other angle. Oh gosh, bro, it is. I wish they would show you the other angle because you can see his face as soon as it is in that standing up position. The knee is not bent at all. He is in pain, and that is something you're gonna know if you tore your ACL because you're gonna be able to feel it. But I thought that was pretty cool to know because since it's happened so much, I thought I should know exactly what they're talking about, how this happens, where it happened with Patrick Mahomes. I thought it was cool. So let me know down in the comments if you knew how an ACL injury happens. I thought it was really cool, and I thought that was the second thing I learned this week from the NFL. The third thing I learned from Week 15 of the NFL is this. Boom! I said this once. I said this once. I said this last week. I'm saying it again. Joe Burrow wants out right now. I got more audio for you guys. Well, I got some more video for you. This was Joe Burrow last week. Do we have subtitles? No, we do not, unfortunately. Here's Joe Burrow last week in his press conference. This is a couple bits from they took a couple things from his press conference last week. This is what I was talking about last week. If you were in my week 15 show, we talked about these comments. Here's what he said, just as a refresher, and then he said something else yesterday in his week 16 press conference.
I want to keep doing this. I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for? So that's the mindset I'm trying to bring to the table.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seemed frustrating.
There's just a lot of things going on right now. A lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
Related, personally?
All the above. Like you said, there's nothing. All we can do is focus week to week and try to win games. I don't think anybody's really thinking about the playoffs right now. That's that's within reach, but on our fingertips. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing and try to get better.
We just gotta keep on doing it and getting better. And this was before This was before they were eliminated against the Ravens this week. This previous week. So that's what his mindset was going into that. And then, so it was like, okay, he's not having fun playing football over there in Cincy. Things are not looking good for him. Now they're eliminated, right? They're sitting here at 4-10 right now, eliminated. Probably the worst performance as a team in Burrow's career. And then we were thinking, well, now what? Now what? Right? Well, people, of course, the reporters asked him some questions. I got a 19-second response because that is all we need. That is all we need from Joe Burrow. That is all we need. Ahead of the game this week. This is what he says. And I got something to add to it at the end.
Is there any world in your mind where you're not the quarterback of the Bengals next year?
I can't see that, no.
Which, of course, you have to say that if you're the franchise quarterback. You have to say that, okay? Everybody is gonna say that. That means absolutely nothing to this point. Now, the next thing he says, this is where it gets a little interesting. Here we go.
Have you ever thought about the possibility of not being the quarterback here during your career, or?
You think about a lot of things.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
During your career, or?
You think about a lot of things.
You think about a lot of things. Joe Burrow thinks about a lot of things. People think about a lot of things. I think about a lot of things. Joe Burrow thinks about things like this. According to Richard Johnson of the NFL, he said at Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow has had conversations with that Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson about potentially teaming up in Minnesota. The two were colleges. They were both college teammates at LSU. Oh boy. And he shows a picture, if you're my audio audience on Spotify, of them hugging it out. Joe Burrow decides to answer that question. Well, you think about a lot of things. He's trying to hide it. You can't say yes to that question. But he says, you think about a lot of things. You think about a lot of things. You think about a lot of things. Richard Johnson, if you guys don't believe me, he is valid. NFL Insider says Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow has had conversations with the Vikings. This was posted on December 17th. This was posted 2 days ago almost. About a day ago, basically. Of course you have to be interested. Of course, when Joe Burrow says
Quarterback here during your career,
you think about a lot of things.
You think about a lot of things.
When he says that,
You think about a lot of things.
it just feels like, just like this person posted, he said, do you think these comments suggest Burrow would be okay with being traded? Or are we looking too deep into it? That is exactly what he wants you to think. He wants you to think, oh, he's happy here and he's just trying to play it safe. No, that's what everybody would say. But you can tell he is mad. He's not having fun. He wants to win. He stated that last week. He said, here, I have it right back over here. Right here.
If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for?
He wants to win. Minnesota Vikings want to win. But they have number 9, J.J. McCarthy, who, yeah, he's looked good these last 2 weeks. But you ain't in the playoffs. Joe Burrow wants to be in the playoffs. He's best friends with Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson wants to win. Justin Jefferson wants a quarterback. He wants a quarterback that can throw him the ball where when Jefferson misses one catch, people won't have to freak out. The only reason people are freaking out about that drop is because J.J. McCarthy hasn't been throwing that many dots to Jefferson. And they're saying, there you go. There was something. They're trying to point it back to Jefferson where it's clearly not Jefferson's fault whatsoever. J.J. McCarthy's not going to win you a Super Bowl, and I stand by that. I am happy to defend that, and I'm happy to be wrong. J.J. McCarthy somehow wins this team a Super Bowl. I owe that man an apology. But guess what? He's never going to hear me. You think he's going to hear me? He might hear me. He might see me. If you guys like and subscribe. So if you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow our channel. The button just really helps grow the channel. And I would appreciate the heck out of you guys if you would do that. But anyways, the comments, very interesting by Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow saying,
You think about a lot of things.
you think about a lot of things. I also think about a lot of things. And I think about all the things I've learned this week from the NFL. The fourth thing I learned this week from the NFL is this. Boom! Josh Allen's going to repeat. Well, what you say, what's he going to repeat in? He's going to repeat as MVP. The media loves Josh Allen. Josh Allen has had 2 straight games doing MVP things. Josh Allen doesn't have any receivers. He doesn't have a Justin Jefferson. He doesn't have a Jamar Chase. His defense isn't that good. But he's on the field, and he's showing everybody why he was an MVP last season, why he was a runner-up 2 seasons ago to Lamar Jackson, and why he's going to win MVP this season. I don't want him to win. I think Matthew Stafford or Drake May deserves it. But the NFL doesn't care what I think. I don't get a vote in that. The media likes Josh Allen. The media sees Josh Allen lead his team back-to-back drives, back-to-back games, multi-touchdown deficits, and come back in the second half. They see that, and they say that's MVP. Josh Allen is going to repeat. No Burrow, no Lamar, no Patrick in the AFC, most likely in the playoffs. Lamar could sneak in. But do you really think they're going to get out of the first round? No Burrow, no Patrick, no Lamar. This is the Buffalo Bills. This is the Buffalo Bills' chance to win the Super Bowl as well. But the one thing is for sure, Josh Allen is going to repeat as MVP. And yes, he could for sure maybe win a Super Bowl this season. The final thing I learned this week from the NFL is this. Boom! The Vikings are doing one of these 2 things. Josh Allen is a very good quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, not a great quarterback, but has played pretty good. He has played pretty darn good. These last couple of games, J.J. McCarthy. He's getting their hopes up. But I say the Vikings are doing one of these 2 things. Either they finally figured out how to use J.J. McCarthy without Justin Jefferson. And in that case, trade Jefferson. That's my thing, okay? So they're either doing one of those things. They figured out how to use J.J. McCarthy without Justin Jefferson, so therefore trade Justin Jefferson. Or number two, they're just trying to raise their draft stock, trying to build up his stock of, how much he's actually worth for a trade. Joe Burrow. But I don't really think they're trying to trade Justin Jefferson. So that's not going to be one of my things. Okay? I think they're either trying to build up J.J. McCarthy's, return value or value in a trade for maybe a Joe Burrow or Kyler Murray or Tua Tagovailoa. But you all know what they are doing. You all know what they are doing. Look at this draft. Look at this draft order. Updated after week 15. The Vikings are doing what they always do. Draft order. Giants number 1. Raiders number 2. Titans number 3. Browns number 4. Jets number 5. Cardinals 6. The Commanders 7. Saints 8. Bengals 9. Rams 10. And a pick acquired from the Falcons. So the Falcons are 10. The Dolphins are 11. The Minnesota Vikings currently have the 12th overall pick. They are ruining their draft pick. You have an awful year. An awful year. You were 4-8. You had a chance to get a top 7 pick. And then, when it doesn't matter, you start winning. That is so Minnesota Vikings. That is so Minnesota Twins. It's Minnesota sports. This is my Minnesota sports rant of the week. Minnesota Vikings. You can't have it both ways. Because if you have it both ways, you're going to have the stupidest pick ever. Right in the middle. Right in the middle is not where you want to be right now. Sure, it doesn't matter because Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah does not know how to draft. But if you want to trade for Joe Burrow, you currently have a pick better than the Cincinnati Bengals. Sure, the Bengals could then have 2 picks, a number 9 overall pick, and a 12 overall pick, which looks good for them. But you could have had a top 7 pick, and that trade value would have been way higher. But yet, they decide, we're going to win, and J.J. McCarthy's going to show everybody why he's going to be our quarterback next year, and everything's going to be great. I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. J.J. McCarthy will never win you a Super Bowl. Hey, I know he's young. Technically a rookie. His decision-making could get better. He just doesn't read the field well. That could get better. The way he plays is not going to change. His play style, I don't like it. It doesn't fit our system. So I do really think the only way we would win a Super Bowl with J.J. McCarthy is if you trade away Justin Jefferson. And you don't want to do that whatsoever. But yeah, they're just ruining their draft pick like normal. And there's my rant of the week. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are the 5 things I learned this week from the NFL. We looked at the playoff picture. We talked about the ACL injuries. We talked about Joe Burrow's comments. We talked about Josh Allen and his MVP quest. And I gave you a little bit of a Vikings rant. Let's move on to our second segment of the day. Back to Matteo's show, batting order presented by To Be Determined. We already did what the heck we learned this week from the NFL. It's time for our accountability session and our Week 16 picks. So moving on, here we go. It is time to predict the unpredictable because this season has been unpredictable. It's our Week 16 picks, a recap of how well I did last week. I went 7-9 last week. We have been in a bit of a drought. We've been in a hole right now. We cannot dig it up. We cannot predict over 500. We dropped a percentage. We're now 61% with a record of 136 and 87, 136 for 223. If you guys forgot, I went 14-2 in week 1, and I have to say that because I forgot to submit my picks on the website I used to keep track. So it says I have 14 less wins and 2 less losses. So I just add that because over here is my predictions. If you can see it, I can't even sometimes read it. But if I do it like that, season 122 for 85, add the 14-2, and it gives you that record that I gave you earlier on the season. But a recap of how I did last week. Yeah, I went 7-9 last week. Those are who I picked. So you guys obviously know where I went wrong. I had no idea the Vikings were going to win against the Cowboys. Yeah, and other things like that happened. But let's just get into it. There's nobody on a bye the rest of the year. So let's make our predictions, starting off with Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is going to be a good one tonight between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold cannot play in the bright lights. He might get a win, but I don't think so. I don't think he can play the Rams. I don't think he can play in the bright lights. Give me the Los Angeles Rams without Davante Adams. Saturday, we got the Bears and the Packers. Packers are without Micah Parsons, and I'm telling you guys, Micah Parsons is a lot to that team. I think the Packers season may be over. Give me Caleb Williams at home to beat the Green Bay Packers. Saturday, another easy game to predict. The Commanders look awful. Give me Saquon, Jalen Hurts. Maybe that offense can finally figure something out against a terrible Commanders defense. And the Philadelphia Eagles clinch the NFC East and knock out the Dallas Cowboys all on Saturday before the Dallas Cowboys even play. Myles Garrett, here we go on Sunday. I believe will get the single season all-time sack record, but they will lose to Josh Allen, who will clinch a playoff spot this week. I think the LA Chargers clinch a playoff spot this week as they get a win. I'm pretty sure that all they have to do is just win. So they beat the Dallas Cowboys, who will have nothing to play for. The Chiefs with Gardner Minshew. I just don't like him, and I'm gonna give it to the Titans. The Titans, you're my upset of the week. Give me the Titans. Cam Ward is gonna go as hosting Gardner Minshew and the Chiefs, who are really bad. Because they don't have Patrick Mahomes. And, if Mahomes was on this team, I would give the Chiefs the victory. But Gardner Minshew's pretty bad. Cam Ward's pretty bad. It's going to be an interception bowl. Interception bowl over there in Tennessee, but that is what it is. We got it. Gosh. Jets and the Saints. Two bad teams. But, hey, guess what? The Saints have been beating the Panthers and the Buccaneers, so they're going to beat the Jets. The Vikings. Jackson Dart against J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, the New York Giants are just traumatized with injuries. Give me the Vikings. And then we got not the Green Bay Packers, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Miami Dolphins. Miami benching Tua Tagovailoa to start Quinn Ewers. Give me Joe Burrow. I know they have nothing to play for, but Quinn Ewers, you're not going to do anything, okay? You're not going to do anything, even against one of the worst defenses in the league. Give me Trey McBride and Jacoby Brissett, the man I am trusting in fantasy this week. Jacoby Brissett, you are coming in as my starting quarterback because all my dudes get injured. Daniel Jones gets injured. Jaden Daniels gets injured. I don't know why the heck I started Sam Darnold last week. Yeah, I did that. Well, you're gone now off my team. Jacoby Brissett, welcome to my team. And you're going to throw to Trey McBride, who's going to get another 40-point game. Again, another easy game between the Texans and the Raiders. Sunday Night Football is even kind of pretty darn easy, even though it's going to be cinema, pure cinema. Give me Drake, May over Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Monday Night Football, I already talked about this. Give me the Niners, they're a sneaky team. They could win the Super Bowl. They could. I mean, their Golden Gate Bridge is in the Super Bowl logo. I thought people said, "Oh, the Super Bowl logo theory is gone." Well, hey, it's back. It's back, boys. It is back. With that, and then we got two interesting games. We got the Steelers and the Lions, and then the Buccaneers and the Panthers. Man. Let's start with the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers looked good against a terrible defense in the Miami Dolphins. They also stopped Tua Tagovailoa, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle. The Detroit Lions defense is pretty bad, but the Detroit Lions offense is pretty darn good. It's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. I don't know who to pick. But give me the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. Gainwell, my man. He clutched up for me in fantasy this week. So he's going to do that again against the Detroit Lions, who I'm playing somebody who has, I believe, J-Mo, Jameer, and Jake Bates all on their team. So come on, Steelers. Let's go, Steelers. Broncos and the Jaguars we're going to wait for them in a second, and we're going to do this. We're going to do this at NFC South. Ah, boy. I just don't know. I'm going to go literally Panthers play better at home. Give me the Panthers. It's just so hard to predict. I could see both teams winning. I could see both teams tying. I could see both teams losing if that's even possible. I don't even think it is. Nobody wants to win. Nobody wants to win that division. Well, the Panthers are going to get that one. Tet's going to have a good game. Maybe Rico Dowell has a good game or something like that. But it's not going to be as good of a game as this game is the game of the week, in my opinion. We got the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Could be an AFC Championship matchup, hypothetically. I doubt it, but it could be. Lawrence has been looking pretty good, but Bo Nix is Bo Nix. Give me Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos to get that win. Submit those picks. Those are my Week 16 picks. Let me know which ones you have, which teams you have, which teams you don't have. Let me know if I picked any major upsets. I know picking the Titans is kind of crazy, but let me know, guys, down in the comments down below what you guys think about my picks this week, which means since we just did this, we only got one more thing to do. It's our Week 16 Power Rankings. So let's go over there. And as always, now towards the end of the season, kind of like the last month of the season, I kind of start the power ranking because it kind of stays the same. Just some honorable mentions. The Saints have jumped up quite a little bit. The Vikings ended up, gaining a spot because I put the Bengals down a spot. But yeah, everybody else is pretty much the same that you've been accustomed to seeing them in those same spots basically all season long. And so it's time to get really into the juicy stuff, into the ones that actually matter, the power rankings that actually matter. With all kind of like the playoff contending teams. Starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in a playoff spot right now, meaning they could be a playoff team, but I'm going to say they could sneak in because I could see them losing all 3 games. And then the Ravens, who we're going to put next, could sneak into the playoffs as well. Both those the same. And also, same thing. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina is right now not in a playoff spot right now. Somehow, some way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are technically in a playoff spot, so they're going to be ahead of those 2 teams. Not the Lions. What am I doing? The Panthers. And those are where I'm going to put those teams. Those probably are the least exciting teams to rank in this week's power rankings. The LA Rams play tonight. As I said, probably get the win pretty easily. I think you're going to be 12-3 now. It's pretty good. You're definitely a Super Bowl favorite. One of my top 5 teams in the NFL. And then we get to their opponent as well. Last week I had their opponent being a Super Bowl contender, not a Super Bowl favorite, a Super Bowl contender. And I'm going to put him there. But believe me, mark my words, after Sam Darnold, after Sam Darnold completely sells tonight against the Rams in primetime Thursday Night Football, after he sells completely, mark my words, they're going down to a playoff team. They will probably still make the playoffs, but they ain't being a Super Bowl contender because they can't play in the big moments. And Mr. Sam Darnold, you got to be able to play in the big moments if you want to win the Lombardi Trophy. Guarantee that's what's going to happen. Guarantee it. Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are a very interesting team. Very interesting. However, they were a playoff team last week. They're going to stay a playoff team this week. Because I don't fully trust the throwing ability of Caleb Williams. Despite being 10-4, which is, hey, it's really good. I just have a feeling they're not as strong as everybody thinks they are, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about the Chicago Bears. They're a playoff team. Hey, they're one step away from being a Super Bowl contender for sure. Detroit. Detroit. I'm sorry. Detroit. I don't want to do this. You're not at a playoff spot right now. And you're in a spot where you could sneak into the playoffs. I'm sorry. I had you as a Super Bowl contender last week. If you would have beaten the LA Rams, you probably would have been one of the top 3 teams in the league. But you didn't. You did not. So, that means you could sneak into the playoffs. And you're better than all those teams, for sure. Give you some respect, but the NFC's tight. The NFC is very tight. You got to start winning. You got to win out if really... You got to win out if you want any chance in. I just have a feeling they're going to maybe even lose this week. Did I end up picking the Steelers? Yeah, I ended up picking the Steelers. Like, I'm sorry, Lions. This is like the awful way to go out. Awful way to go out. I'm sorry. You know who's not awful to go out because they are a very darn good team and everybody is disrespecting them? The San Francisco 49ers. Top 4 team last week. They have moved into the top 3. They are a Super Bowl favorite. They keep on winning. I don't care if it was a little bit ugly. Brock Purdy looks very comfortable. As normal, he looks like he's back from his injury completely. CMC's healthy. I know people are saying, well, they don't have Fred Warner. They don't have Nick Bosa. Well, they're still 10-4. They're a good team. They're a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. And, yeah, I just really like Kyle Shanahan. I like the way they're playing. So the San Francisco 49ers, a top 3 team. There is one more team better than both of those 2 teams. I will put them in right now because they're actually the next team in the list. The Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos. What more? What more do you need from the Denver Broncos to not believe in them? The Denver Broncos are a darn good team. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Their defense is insane. Their O-line is good. RJ Harvey's good. Their receiving core is not the best, but that's okay. Bo Nix is good. They keep winning games. Bo Nix clutched up. He's clutching up every week. They've won so many games in a row. What more? What more do you need from the Broncos? They have won 11 straight games. 11 straight games. They're 12-2. 7-0 at home, which means if they get the number 1 seed, they could maybe even be a threat to make it to the Super Bowl. This is why you would have to run through Denver. Nobody can win in Denver so far. The Green Bay Packers are a good team. Sure, Parsons goes down, but they were losing. They still lose without Parsons, and now Parsons is going to be done for the year, so that tanks the Packers. Speaking of the Packers, they're a playoff team, but just barely. Just barely because Micah Parsons, I think that your season's over. Maybe you sneak into the playoffs because of how well you did with Parsons. Once you hit playoff time, you're a one-and-done team. I'm sorry. Denver Broncos are legit. Those are your top 3 teams. The Broncos, the Rams, and the 49ers. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. You can call me crazy, whatever. Whatever. But those are my top 3 teams. I do have 2 more Super Bowl favorites in my top 5. And both come from the same division. You see who I'm putting. the Buffalo Bills, and the New England Patriots. The Patriots at 4, the Bills at 5. And you got the Seahawks at 6. First of all, Josh Allen, you just can't argue with that. And Drake May was my best team in the league last week. What more do I have to say? Both of those teams are good. They could face each other in the playoffs, which would be absolutely insane. But both teams are very good, and both could be a Super Bowl favorite. The Dallas Cowboys, man, their season just is like gripping. It is gripping, and with that out, you're going to be flat out mid. You're done, bro. I'm sorry. You're flat out mid with the Dolphins. You're flat out mid with the Chiefs. You're almost Viking territory. You actually lose to the Vikings, which makes it worse. Because the Vikings are one win away from being out flat out mid. Because people are projecting them to finish out 8-9. Are you kidding me? What if they finish out with a above 500 record? If they win out, they've finished 9-8. It's insane. The Cowboys, you're done. Your season's over. Have fun in the offseason. Chargers, if you win, you're in. Congratulations, you are a playoff team. So are the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are the best playoff team, though, I think. They're even better. I'd take them over the Chicago Bears. Their defense looks good. The Strouds are back. CJ Stroud is back. Not Tank Dell. Tank Dell's okay. I just don't think he's played much this season. Nico Collins. Nico Collins is good. He is good. He's a good yeah. I mean, you got the defense. You got the quarterbacks. Strength of the schedule is in your favor. They maybe are 1 win away or 2 wins away. Could be a Super Bowl contender. Could be a Super Bowl contender. A dark horse Super Bowl contender. I have one more Super Bowl contender out there. And it's got to be, I can't disrespect this team. They won the Super Bowl last year. The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm taking them even over Sam Darnold because I don't trust Sam Darnold in the big moments. Sure, the Eagles haven't looked as good as they were last season, but that's okay. They're still a good team. They're going to win their division. They're going to have at least 1 or 2 home games in the playoffs, depending on whoever wins. They could finish this season out, with 12 wins. Now, last season, what were they last season? They were what? Did they have 13 wins last season? 14 wins. So 2 less. 2 less wins than last season. Not very much. Sure, they don't look as dangerous, but I like the Eagles a lot, especially when you come playoff time. That's all I'm going to say. Phillip Rivers looked pretty darn good in his return to the NFL. I mean, he threw a touchdown. I mean, obviously they couldn't get the win, but I mean, they could sneak into the playoffs, in my opinion. Yeah, they could. I'm going to put them kind of right over there. Just, unfortunately, towards the end, but could sneak in. And that's all I'm going to say. And then you got the Jaguars. They're a playoff team. They're in the lead in their division. They're going to be ahead of the Texans. And there you go. I mean, the Jaguars, they're good. Obviously, they have a tough matchup this season. And if they perform decent, because, I mean, the Raiders even played a close game against the Broncos. So you should be able to play a close game against the Broncos. If you don't, your season might be over. That's all I'm going to say. And that's going to be my power rankings for today. Here's a quick rundown, 1 through 32 of my power rankings. Number 1, we got the Broncos. Number 2, we got the Rams. Number 3, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, the Patriots. Number 5 are the Buffalo Bills. Number 6 are the Eagles. Number 7 are the Seattle Seahawks. 8, Jaguars. 9, Texans. And rounding out the top 10 are your Chicago Bears. 11, Chargers. 12, Packers. 13 are the Detroit Lions. 14, Steelers. 15, Buccaneers. 16, Colts. 17, Ravens. 18, Panthers. 19, Cowboys. 20 are the Miami Dolphins. 21, Chiefs. 22, Vikings. 23 Bengals, 24 Cardinals, 25 Commanders, 26 Falcons, 28, I believe, Saints, 29 Giants, 30. Sorry, no, I messed up. 29 Browns, my bad. 30 Jets, 31 Titans, and 32 are the Las Vegas Raiders. There are my power rankings. Obviously, they have nothing to do, with the standings, because obviously, like, the Giants are the worst team standing wise and would get the number 1 overall pick. But also, mind you, they have Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors both coming back after injuries for in 2026. And I feel like that 26-27 season, that young group of Dart, Neighbors, and Scatterbo is going to be insane. And I think they have a bright future ahead of them. Abdul Carter and company, they're going to get a good draft pick here, or maybe even trade that number 1 overall pick for a good player. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. It's going to be cool to see the Giants. That's why they aren't the worst team in the league. But yeah. Excuse me. And that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed every single moment of it. I know it's a longer episode because, hey, it's my NFL episode. Actually, all my episodes are about between 45 and an hour and a half, just because, I like to talk, and, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy, or, listen to parts and pause and come back. I appreciate everybody who watches. And here's what's coming up the rest of December. Tomorrow we got, did the Mets mess up everything by losing Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz for absolutely nothing? And then the next week it's all Christmas week, so we're gonna talk about a couple teams, what each of those teams in each league wants for Christmas. So it's probably gonna be, I'll probably pick 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, maybe 10 teams for each league, and saying what those teams want for Christmas. Our Week 17 show will be on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, depending. I think the Christmas NFL schedule is weird, so we have to figure that out exactly. But that will be coming up next week. Are also the NBA Christmas Day games preview. I will do that probably Christmas Eve. We got the Timberwolves playing on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, which is going to be super exciting. And then the week after Christmas, kind of like the 28th through 30th, we will be redrafting the last 5 NBA drafts. And who's power ranking who's still left in the MLB free agency. Also coming out a couple Sundays, maybe this Sunday and next Sunday, we'll do some more Kingdom competitors, where we take a look at Christian athletes in the game and take a look at their testimony, just what they have to say to people. With Sports Spectrum, which I really like that series. We just haven't been able to do a lot of it, unfortunately. And then our first episode of 2026, kicking off season 2 of Inside the Zone with Matteo, will be our 2026 prediction show, where I will give predictions for the entire year. So you don't want to miss that. And so you never, ever miss any of these episodes, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell button on so you don't miss anything. Follow me on X. You can listen to me on Spotify as well. So yeah, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It just really helps grow the channel, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to beg for money. It's completely free. It's a free button. It just really supports the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.